Good morning, warriors. Back with another episode of our morning talk and our retention journey we're on day by day. Hope you guys are having a great day. We are at March 31st, 2022. Hope all is well. Thank you guys for all the subscriptions, donations, likes, comments. A lot of great comments. I'm going to focus on another comment today, but I want to appreciate you guys and keep doing that and keep commenting. And I appreciate everything we're doing. We're getting close to 400 subscriptions, so we're moving up and little by little. And the main thing is that we're keeping with our plan. I had to go back and look at my days because I was reviewing some of the old shows that I did. And I think I had 650 days on March 15th. So that would make it 665. So I had to go back and redo my numbers. So I'm glad I'm doing it, keeping track of it, because I lose track day by day. So I believe I'm probably around 665 at this point. And so monk mode I think is like 185 or something like that. So we're in good shape. We're moving ahead. But I want to thank everybody for their comments and likes and all those type of things. And so keep doing those, please. So I'm going to go back to a comment and Shubham, thank you so much for your comment, Shubham. I appreciate that a lot. And I'm going to go back a little bit to physics. I'm going to try to make this not as technical. I'm going to try to. I can't guarantee that, but I'm going to try. He asked a real good question, and I'm going to have to kind of bring some law of physics and Einstein's theory into this a little bit, conservation of energy, things like that. But he's asking, here's what he's asking. If I'm wrong, please, Shubham, let me know. But here's what he's asking. He's basically saying, and he's asking for my comment on this, he's asking about mass and energy, especially kinetic energy, usually is correlated together, which means that the stronger the mass, the more energy you'll have. You know, the bigger, it's kind of correlated one by one. You increase the mass, increase the energy, things like that. Energy has no mass, but mass is energy. And so everything is energy, and we know that, right? We know that part. And so he's asking, well, what happens? The mass stays the same, but when you release, you're losing energy. And you're losing a lot of nutrients and things like that. So he's asking, why is mass staying the same when energy is lost? And I'll have to do a little more research on this as well, because my answer is not 100%. I'm a physics teacher, but it's a good question you ask. But here is my, I guess, theory about this, and I got to go test this and kind of look at this more. So you do lose a little bit of mass. You can lose mass. If you have a lot of energy loss over time, you can lose mass. We see that a lot with people when they stop weightlifting, stop getting them. You do lose a little mass, and I think a lot of it depends on how you look at this idea of energy. Now, whenever energy is lost, okay, your mass, which we know cannot be destroyed, mass cannot be destroyed. It can't be. It's going to be transferred to something. So when mass is lost, it's not really lost. I know it's confusing, guys, but I'm going to try to kind of try to understand a little bit, the best that at least I can figure out. Okay. So when mass is lost, it turns into energy. So what ends up happening is, this is why when you can lose weight at times, all right, and then you feel more energy because it's transferred into energy. It's not a big, it's not a big type of thing. People lose weight, they gain energy a lot. A lot of times they're heavier. They have the energy, but it's more potential energy than kinetic energy. They can't move, they're lazy, things like that, because they're eating a big meal, they're heavy, they're overweight, things like that. And so when we look at mass, we know that mass cannot be destroyed. So we know that it's not going to be eliminated. We're not going to lose mass. It will be transferred into something, however, and that's going to be the key to the situation as far as I'm concerned. Because when you look at someone who is on retention, they are keeping their mass. Okay, their mass is not going to be lost or anything like that, and their energy is also still there. And so you have a lot of kinetic energy. And it's just a matter of how you use the energy. That's a whole different topic. But when you release, yes, you are releasing energy, and you're going to lose a little mass too, because there's a one-to-one relationship. Not one-to-one. If you look at Einstein's theory, it's not totally one-to-one when you're losing energy, but there is a good relationship between energy and mass. And so when you lose energy, just like if you gain energy, you're going to go ahead and have some more mass. But when you lose mass, you're not really losing mass. You're basically transferring it to energy. So your feeling of heaviness comes from the fact that you've created mass. And so it's not really a matter of energy so much. It's really more of a matter of mass. So I guess the question really is that when you're releasing energy, even though your mass is kind of still there, it does transfer into energy. So you can feel different types of things when you lose energy. There's a feeling that some people have, and they've kind of reported, that they feel a little bit lighter after they've released. And that's one of the things that people have always said to me, that this is something that happens, you feel a little bit lighter. Well, you probably do, because you're losing some of the energy, at least a short-term type period of time. Now, the mass you lose will just be created into energy, and it's not going to be a big deal, because eventually you build that energy back up. And a lot of it comes from things you create. You have to create that energy, and that sometimes it takes time, depending on how old you are. It takes more and more time to be able to kind of build up that energy you need. So when you lose energy, it's being transferred, but that energy is also not necessarily leaving you. It's transferring into something else. The mass. Now, I'm not talking about that. When you lose the energy, you're losing energy for the time being. You're going to gain energy back at a different pace. You're going to eventually gain some energy back, but you're going to lose mass, lose energy and mass. Now, I know this sounds really confusing, and I really apologize. I'm trying the best that I can to kind of focus on a relationship between mass and energy. As Shubham is basically saying, there is a one-to-one relationship between mass and energy. And I understand when you lose energy, you're keeping the same mass. So do you feel heavy? But you are. So the answer is that you are losing a little bit of mass. It's not being destroyed. It's just being transferred into other energy. And so therefore, if you have more energy, you could be feeling lighter. Feeling heavier is also possible for people, depending on how you view things. So there's times when, depending on the energy you're losing, that energy can be transferred quickly back into other energy, and you can actually kind of feel heavy. I don't really feel heavy. When in the past, from my recollections now, I don't feel heavier. So it may be more of a perception than anything else, because what you're doing is you're kind of releasing a lot of nutrients, a lot of energy in your system. So because of that type of situation, you're also losing a little bit of mass. Now, the mass is not destroyed, of course, but the mass is going to be transferred into more energy. And so you're building energy up. So then the question becomes, well, why don't we just go ahead and release all the time, right? That's kind of that's what the argument is, right? The argument is, well, it's good for you, and you're going to be able to get more energy, and you're releasing, and so, that sort of thing. Well, it doesn't, in my mind, that doesn't hold a lot of water anymore. I think when you're talking about energy loss, you're losing far too much energy the way people are doing this. Obviously, God would say if you never did this, you should do this. Of course, when you're procreating, things like that. So it's not something that's going to kill you. And in fact, the idea is that it's supposed to help create a child. So it's not. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. We're just saying that a lot of people can't control this any longer, and so you have to kind of understand the energy loss. And so people have had to go to monk mode and things like myself because you can't control it, and you end up hurting yourself because you're destroying yourself. You're wasting so much energy to a level that I don't care. You could lose all the mass. You could lose mass in the world. It's not gonna keep up with the amount of energy you're losing, and this is why people get depleted. And so this is the whole problem with the situation. When you're releasing 4 or 5 times a day, your energy is going, and it takes time to do that. So let's look at an example of weight. Okay, so when a person is heavy, and then they go on a fast of some sort just to kind of shock their body, that weight is going to come from all parts of your body. It'll probably go from the stomach area last, for men especially. But they're going to go ahead and lose different parts of the body because they need it to survive. They know they're not getting food intake, so they're going to do to survive. So you're going to lose weight. You're going to lose your mass, right? You're going to end up losing your mass. But where does that mass go? That mass is going into creating energy, which is why people say with water and loss of weight, you pick up more energy, right? You're not as heavy. You've lost weight in the stomach area, different areas like that, and you feel better, and now I have more energy to do things. It's not that the mass is destroyed. We can't destroy mass. But you can go ahead and transfer it to energy, which if you transfer it to energy and the loss of mass that you have, I suppose it's possible that you could feel, as we talked about before, you could feel heavier for a period of time. Now, a lot of that could also be water weight, depending on how much water you have and things like that. But eventually, what usually happens is that you will feel lighter because you have more energy. So, Shubham, it might be more of a perception than anything else. I have not felt heavier, to answer your question. I have felt more lighter when that happens because I want to decrease my mass. Now, when I was weightlifting or when I was playing football back in the old days, that was a little different type of thing. I wanted to improve mass and bulk up more. But that's not the case now. Some of you young guys may want to bulk up more, and that's, it's very legitimate, and those things are happening and important. But the idea that you want to do is you want to make sure that, you're using your energy in the most effective way. And if you have too much weight, too much mass, it's gonna hurt that situation because you won't feel as good, and just from a good perspective, you're not gonna feel as effective. And I know that I picked up a few pounds over the weekend with carbs because that's my downfall is carbs right now, and too much sugar and carbs. And so the thing is I stay away from those things, I start to feel lighter. So I have more energy now yesterday and today than I had over the weekend because of this simple fact. And as your body gets older, it takes a little bit longer time as well to process, manufacture all those proteins and carbs you have. And so this is why a lot of people have trouble keeping their weight off as they get older, right? When you're younger, metabolism's faster and you can work through faster, and so it's easier. So you have to kind of look at your car as your body like a Ferrari, because I think the thing is that you want to stay thin so you're able to do a lot more. Now, losing energy does not help that cause, of course. You could be thin as a rail, but if you're losing energy, then it's really having the opposite effect on you. Because the whole idea is that you want to keep your nutrients, and now you're losing energy on a consistent basis, and And so no matter what your mass is, you're still going to feel weak. You're still going to feel, tired, and you're still going to end up falling asleep. So the interesting part about this, and now I just kind of had a thought, Shubham, as you're talking, so I may have to do a little more research on this because obviously I'm thinking about this. So here's an interesting point, Shubham. You're making a good point here. So when you release, you feel tired, right? When you're overweight and eat too much, you also feel tired because your food is digesting in your system. So perhaps you're onto something, my friend. Perhaps you do feel heavier after you release. And maybe I just didn't notice it. Maybe my perception is wrong too. So we're going to go back on this a little bit more. A great question, Shubham. I think that I probably confused you guys more than helped you, but I brought some ideas out. I will pose this one because I think that I don't know exactly if I've kind of answered this question or not. I will have to do more research into this because I did that last insight I just had on what Shubham is talking about feeling heavy. You do have the same reaction after you release as you do when you eat a big meal and now you're tired, right? So if you feel lighter, that would not be happening. So it's interesting. That's an interesting type of comment. That interesting question you have. I'm going to say at the point in time now that it's probably more of a perception than anything else. Because your mass, you will lose a little mass, but it's transferred in energy. So you should feel lighter. You should feel lighter. I'm sorry about that, guys. We have a ambulance going by the car. You should feel lighter. But the fact that you don't feel lighter and maybe you fall asleep indicates something. So, real good question, my friend. But I'm going to let you guys go for now. And we will be back and hopefully talk about this again soon. Maybe after I do a little more thinking and research on this one. Very interesting type of question we have. So I'm going to try to do one also this weekend on the Fountain of Youth and bring my books back out and kind of show you some exercises and things like that, because I know it was Dex or someone had asked me about it. I'm going to pull back up and look at that. So, all right, guys, until tomorrow or next time I go ahead and do something, you guys have a great day. God bless you guys. Battle on. Shubham, thank you for that great question. You're making me think a lot here, and maybe we can try to get to an answer here. I'll ask my physics class. No. All right. Talk to you guys later. Take care, guys. Bye.